True Detective Night Country, I have come up with a better title. Even though we're all in the night country now, we're in the night country. Oh, the night country has got us. It's going to swallow us whole, the night country. And if you go down into the ice, the night country will spank your bottom. You'll get spanked by the night country. No, my title is The Trials and Tribulations of Peter Pryor. Because Jesus Christ, poor Peter Pryor, and the shitty way people treat this young man who's just trying to do his job. I mean, let's be fair. The only true detective on this show, it's not Danvers, it's not Navarro, these hot-headed alpha male toxic masculinity women. It's Peter Pryor. He's the one doing the investigative work. Every time some sort of new lead comes up, it's Peter. He's the one who finds out about the Tuttle Corporation. In this episode, he's the one who links Talal and the mine to the same parent company. He's the one who discovers that most likely there is some cover-up going on between the two. He's the one doing all the work. While Danvers struts around, wagging her dick everywhere, and Navarro goes out and gets in fights, Peter's doing the work. And what does he get for it? His wife is mad at him all the time. Because for a week now, he's had to work late hours over a mass homicide investigation. And he gets kicked out. His dad's mad at him for various reasons. Danvers constantly treats him like crap. In this episode, when Leah, Danvers' stepdaughter, is arrested because I'm just going to take a moment to talk about this. She goes to a protest, which immediately turns violent and portrays the riot police as extremely violent. And yes, there are many instances of riot police that are, overly violent with protesters. But this is all done in the most ham-fisted, exaggerated way possible. A protest of Native American, Indigenous American protesters at a mine would almost certainly not get this violent this fast. And the response, which I'm sure Navarro wouldn't be the only cop in that police squad, or in the police response that was Native. I'm sure there would have been a lot of Native cops, actually. I just don't think it would I don't think it's an authentic representation of what might happen at this kind of protest. But anyways, Leah's there, of course, because she's involved in every little thing that she can be to get in trouble while her stepmom is investigating murder, and then she's always mad. Navarro this time has to save her from a really angry and violent cop. And on the drive home, instead of being grateful and all shook up by this experience, this idiot teenager is like, why do you always, whose side are you on? It's like, dude, she just saved your ass. You could be kind of grateful to her about that. I don't know, as a parent of teenagers, I know that teenagers can be hot-headed and stupid, but they have really turned this particular one into such a caricature of every reckless trait. So she's arrested. Danvers actually books her, which I think is a good move. She should probably spend the weekend in jail, if only to get her out of the way. But when Peter, poor Peter, brings her a Pepsi and some chips, she's like, I don't like Pepsi. And then she's talking about Kayla, who's apparently crying herself to bits at home after kicking Peter out. And Leah's like, you're such an asshole. Why is Peter an asshole? There are a lot of assholes in this show. There's at least 2 assholes per character in this show. It's an asshole-ridden show. This show is infested by assholes. But there's one character who does not qualify for that description, and that is Peter Pryor, who's just a nice kid doing his job and getting shit on by literally everybody at every turn. And at the end of this episode, he kills his dad. And instead of that being the biggest deal ever, he and volunteers to stick back and clean this mess up and cover it up and dispose of the body and the body of Otis, who his dad killed just moments before, so that Danvers and Navarro can go out and investigate the cave in a storm. the cave where Annie may or may not have been killed in years ago, years prior, if we're going to keep bringing that word into the mix. I'm sorry. If this was, if I'm Danvers and my subordinate saves my ass by killing his own dad, I'm sticking around to help clean it up. Like, I'm not rushing off to a cave with freaking Navarro on her little weird crusade. It's so absurd. The way this show is written is just so absurd. Is it not absurd? Is this not absurd? Am I losing my damn mind that the whole setup is just like the stakes, the priorities of all the characters? It's all just so bafflingly absurd. And I'm skipping all kinds of stuff that happened in this episode. I mean, like, lots of stuff happens, lots of stuff goes on, and yet at the end of it, I'm still feeling like it's 80% filler. Like, there are so many conversations where it's just like, why are we having this conversation? Why is this scene in here? Like, we are one episode away from the end of this story, and we are spending time just having another argument and another. Danvers and Navarro have had essentially the same argument like every episode of this show, and it's not going anywhere. It's not like we're learning new information that's really exciting. It's just spinning the wheels. So anyways, as you can probably guess, I'm not a huge fan of this episode. Like if you want to really distill it, like, basically what happens in this episode is that the forensics come back and we learn that the scientists were not killed, they were frozen to death, which goes completely contrary to what we learned in the previous episode with the vet. And so we are left to assume that's not true, and that they were actually murdered, but they're trying to shut down the investigation. We learn this in a scene with Danvers having to meet with Ted Connolly and the boss lady of the mine. I don't know why, if you're trying to cover up something and you're the mine and you're pulling the strings and doing all that, why you would meet at the mine offices to do this, instead of like handling police business with the police only. But that's how it goes. And then the mine boss lady chick, we have a scene with her telling Hank to basically go kill Otis so he can't bring Danvers to the cave. Which, again, it just seems like a huge overreaction to a problem that they probably could solve in a much less criminal way. And then, of course, the way Hank does it is, instead of just offing Otis when he gets a chance, he's like literally going to kill Danvers. Like, he's going so far above and beyond what is asked of him that it just makes no sense. You're going to kill a police chief to cover to stop this junkie from taking her to the there has to be a better way to go about this. It's just so unbelievably stupid. I don't know. Like, I just don't understand the script. I don't understand the point of this story. They're investigating effectively. They're shut down, right? No, you're not investigating this. It wasn't a crime. Okay. But no one ever tells them they can't investigate the death of Annie still. They just say that you can't that the investigation into the scientist's death is over. And they weren't really investigating that to begin with. They're mostly investigating Annie, who, of course, obviously was stabbed to death, so that is a criminal investigation. No one stopped them from doing that. There's just so many little things throughout this episode where I just am watching and I'm just like, are you kidding me? You're really putting this in here. Too many to even remember at this point. But of course, everything is punctuated by needle drops. We get various like dramatic songs at just the right emotional moments. The only thing I liked about this episode, John Hawkes, who plays Hank Pryor, he's playing guitar when his son shows up because he's been kicked out of his house, and he's playing this song, very Johnny Cash-like song. I don't know what this song is. Hopefully I'll find out what it is after this airs. I looked up the lyrics. I couldn't find anything, so maybe it's an original song for the show. Really good song, very Johnny Cash-like. And this plays over like the protests going on, but also Peter going to his dad's house. And I love that moment. And I really think and I liked also the story that Hank tells about saving Peter from the ice, when he falls through the ice as a boy. Although this made me hate the ending of this episode even more. And maybe that could have been effective if these characters were actually delved into in a serious way. But really, ultimately, I feel like this show only treats every examination of any character and relationship on a very sort of surface level. Everything feels tropey and generic. And so we don't really get honestly, this story of a young police officer who has to shoot and kill his father, that's a story right there. That's a whole story for a whole show. But it's just sort of glossed over in this episode. We get this shocking moment, and then they're like, but the important thing is that we go to the cave and we investigate Annie's death. In a storm, in an ice cave that we have to dig to. What? What the fuck? Here's a show that has Fiona Shaw, a wonderful actress, playing a part that is completely irrelevant. She's just the dude. She's the guy who you go to find the bodies because she sees ghosts. Or you go to her when you want to scatter some ashes. Or, you go to her if you want to get rid of a body where you scattered the ashes. Nothing like disposing of the body of your dead father right where I just scattered the ashes of my dead sister. Am I right? That's so poetic. Anyways, all right, I'm done. Talked for 12 minutes. And mostly, I think my ramble here is as incoherent as this stupid show, which, I'm sorry, does not deserve the title True Detective, unless we're talking about Peter, the only true detective on this show, in which case we should just call it True Detective, The Trials and Tribulations of Peter Pryor. Poor Peter Pryor. Peter Pumpkin Eater, had a wife and couldn't keep her. Put her in a pumpkin shell, and there he kept her very well. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what you think of this show so far and this episode. We have one episode left. Somehow we're going to wrap it all up. I'm sure we're all going to be super happy with how it ends. Thanks for watching. Peace.